BTS's Jimin was suddenly rushed to a military hospital after collapsing during an intense physical training session, shocking both fans and the inner circle of South Korea's largest entertainment agency. But what truly made this incident shake the public was the unexpected reaction from two major figures, Bang Si-hyuk, who immediately halted all his activities, and Jungkook, who was reported to be hysterical at the scene. The question is, what really happened behind this dramatic incident? And how intense is the pressure truly felt by idols during their mandatory military service? The incident occurred at 11:47 Korea Standard Time in a military training camp located in the Gangwon-do region. Internal sources stated that the training that day lasted longer and was more intense than usual. Jimin, known for being a perfectionist and never doing things halfway, had shown signs of exhaustion a few days earlier. However, no one expected that he would suddenly collapse in the middle of the field, his body crashing to the ground with no one able to catch him. Several eyewitnesses claimed the sound of his body hitting the ground was so loud that it brought the once active training ground to complete silence. Within seconds, military medics rushed in with a stretcher. But the most heart-wrenching moment was the scream of Jungkook, Jimin's bandmate and close friend, who broke security protocol by running toward him. He tried to cradle Jimin's unconscious body while repeatedly calling his name. One training personnel said, "We've never seen Jungkook like that. He completely lost control." Soon after the incident, the news reached Bang Si-hyuk, the founder of HYBE Labels, who was in a strategic meeting with global executives. In a report circulating among internal staff, Bang abruptly stopped the meeting, left the room without a word, and rushed to the military hospital with only a driver and assistant. His expression was reportedly extremely tense, lacking even the slightest of his usual smiles. "That wasn't the Bang Si-hyuk we knew," said one staff member who saw him at the hospital. There was panic, but more than that, there was guilt in his eyes. Jimin was later reported to have entered the emergency room in an unstable condition. Initial diagnosis stated he suffered from severe physical exhaustion exacerbated by prolonged emotional stress. The medical team also noted signs of overtraining syndrome and unaddressed mental pressure. Medical records indicated Jimin had experienced drastic weight loss, insomnia, and recurring dizziness over the past 2 weeks, yet he still chose to continue training without rest. Even more heartbreaking, it was reported that Jimin had refused the medical leave offered by the training unit because he didn't want to burden his peers, especially Jungkook. His loyalty to his duty, ironically, became one of the factors that worsened his condition. Jimin's condition was deemed serious, but not life-threatening. He suffered bruising on his left arm from the fall, but no bone fractures or major internal trauma were found. Doctors advised full medical observation for at least 72 hours, with a strict ban on physical activity for 2 weeks. Jungkook was reported to have begged the military to allow him to stay with Jimin overnight in the hospital. The request was denied due to strict security and protocol. The next day, Jungkook missed training and reportedly isolated himself in the barracks. A fellow soldier said, "He didn't come out for dinner, didn't talk, and didn't even turn on his phone." That wasn't the usual Jungkook. Social media exploded. Hashtags like #StayStrongJimin, #ProtectJungkook, and #GetWellSoonJimin trended globally within hours. Fan bases across the world, from Korea to Indonesia, the United States, and Europe, expressed their concern. Even the official account of the South Korean military released a short statement to calm the public, saying Jimin was under intensive care. Bang Si-hyuk, through HYBE Label's official statement, said that Jimin would receive all the medical and psychological support he needed. Jimin is not only an extraordinary artist, he is also a deeply dedicated human being. "We take full responsibility for his health and will ensure he faces no pressure of any kind," he wrote. However, the statement sparked further speculation. Has HYBE, and more broadly, the South Korean entertainment industry, pushed idols too far, even sacrificing their mental and physical health during what's supposed to be a break from industry pressure. Some observers claim this incident should be a turning point in reassessing the military training system for celebrities. We can no longer view idols purely as entertainment products. They're human beings, and Jimin's case shows that even public figures who seem strong can collapse under unseen burdens, said an expert in Korean pop culture psychology. Furthermore, a statement read by the military unit spokesperson shared Jungkook's touching words. "I've never felt this terrible. Seeing Jimin fall like that, it was like a part of me fell too." Though Jimin's condition is now slowly improving, many are calling for a systemic evaluation of work standards and expectations for idols, both in and out of the military. The public is now faced with a much broader question. Amid commercial pressure, public expectations, and the unending spotlight of social media, have we contributed to forcing idols to keep smiling, even when they're hurting? And this is the true point of reflection. Jimin may just be one name in the tide of a global industry, but his story reflects a reality we often ignore. That true strength isn't always shown through a smile on stage, but through the courage to admit when one can no longer go on. Now, the world awaits Jimin's recovery, not just as an idol, but as a human being who has the right to be tired. And hopefully from this incident, the public will learn to lower inhumane expectations. Because behind the stage lights, there are always shadows we rarely see. And today, we are all forced to see them. The news about BTS's Jimin being rushed to the hospital has touched millions of hearts. Jungkook's emotional reaction, Bang Si-hyuk's shocking actions, and the concern of fans worldwide, it all feels incredibly real. But amidst the flood of information from TikTok, YouTube, long Twitter threads, and emotional Instagram comments, how many of us are truly questioning the validity of these sources? Let's take a step back and ask, are we witnessing the truth? Or merely consuming a dramatic narrative that may not even be verifiable? It's important to remember that most of these reports, while seemingly convincing, originated from social media platforms and sources lacking official journalistic credibility. Even some viral videos claiming to show Jungkook crying in the hospital were actually filmed elsewhere at entirely unrelated times. Is this merely a mistake, or part of an effort to create a specific atmosphere? Why do stories like this spread so fast and become accepted by the public as fact? The answer is simple: emotion. Humans are naturally moved by stories involving drama, suffering, and empathy. When we read that Jimin collapsed during training, or that Jungkook isolated himself in trauma, we don't just see idols, we see humans. And that's the power of this narrative. But does that make it true? If it is true, why hasn't there been an official statement from South Korea's military authorities? Why have mainstream media outlets, usually quick to report on major issues, remained silent or merely quoted unclear sources? Why hasn't HYB held a press conference, as they usually do during serious controversies? Is this proof the information is still raw, or rather a sign that something is being crafted? This is where our role as readers is crucial, as viewers who don't just receive but also question. We must dare to ask, who first spread this information? Is that news source trustworthy? Is there any official visual or medical record that can be verified? What's the motivation behind the virality of this story? Could this be part of a marketing strategy, an issue diversion, or even a subtle attempt to boost fan loyalty through emotional manipulation? We live in an era where narratives spread faster than facts, and where emotion often replaces logic. So now the question isn't just what happened to Jimin, but why did we immediately believe it? Have we, the public, become too easily swayed by algorithms and emotions? Has our love for artists made us uncritical in filtering information? Or worse, are we being subtly used by an industry that knows too well that suffering and tears are the most effective viral content?